Hello my dear students and welcome back to Environmental Management. Today in Environmental Management we shall learn about how we can manage solid waste. So solid waste, the need of an hour. Really it's a need of the hour. Let's see why. Now you have learned about the climatic change. So climatic change and pollution are actually closely related to each other. Because of the pollution only climatic change is taking place faster. Now and how it is taking place faster? It's because of the pollution which is caused. Now what is pollution? Pollution is nothing but the accumulation, or it is the phenomenon which causes due to the contamination of the environment, either due to human activities or maybe due to the natural sources or natural causes like volcano and all, right? Now in which different ways different ways do our surroundings get polluted? Now you can see here different pictures which are shown. Now in our everyday life what we are doing is while walking, garbage we are throwing the garbage carelessly in our surrounding. Then also we are littering the surrounding while eating something, throwing the wrappers on the road. Okay, children up eating chocolates and all, throwing everywhere, or somebody is eating gutka and just throwing on the road. So this is called as littering of the surrounding. Then everybody knows about how air pollution is caused due to the vehicular pollution. So it's due to the combustion of the fossil fuels, whereas you can see that even the burning of the garbage and even washing of the clothes in the river, washing of the utensils and even animals in the water bodies causes the water pollution. So this is how the pollution is taking place in our surrounding. Fine. Now let us so all these are causing the different types of pollution like soil pollution, water pollution, correct, and air pollution as well. Now let us see the garbage which is collected in the classroom. What type of in our everyday life also there is so much of waste generated in our homes. Okay, it can be the wet waste like the food materials, the waste food material, correct, or the garden waste, or maybe certain waste papers, waste plastics, and everything is generated in our homes too. Now let us see in the classroom what type of waste is generated in the classroom. Okay, do you know how this garbage is disposed of? Let us try to do a small activity. Okay, in that we will see how much is the garbage produced in the classroom. So classroom dustbin, if you see, you will be finding there are so many different types of waste materials which are found in the dustbin. Now what type of waste is this? It is consisting of mostly the used papers or maybe pieces of papers, used pens, empty plastic bottles, pencil scrap, then chocolate wrappers and food wrappers. Now since the quantity of this, how these materials can be disposed of? Since the quantity of these materials in the dustbin is less, it can be disposed of easily. Let us see how we can dispose it. Now the used papers or pieces of papers and pencil scraps can be put in the green basket or green trash bin, whereas the empty plastic bottles, then used pens and the chocolate wrappers and food wrappers can be thrown in the blue trash bin, right? So this way we can categorize the waste material from the school. So this way even at homes also we can follow this activities. Now in the similar way the garbage generated in our homes every day can also be disposed of properly. Like heaps of paper can be sold to the old paper mart, or maybe metal and plastic waste can be given for scrap dealers. Okay, whereas the eatables like vegetable peels or maybe fruit peels, all these are kitchen waste. Then kitchen waste and bits of paper can be thrown into the green trash bin. Now pieces of glass, plastic bags and plastic wrappers can be given for put in the blue trash bin. So this way we can sort out the waste which is generated in our homes too. So waste materials which are generated through the various daily human activities is only called as the solid waste. I repeat, the waste materials which are generated through various daily human activities in general are called as solid waste. We will define solid waste in little later in detail. Fine. Now, so you remember now here the waste material which is generated to various daily human activities also called as the solid waste. Okay. Let us proceed further. Now how these solid waste can be, now let's perform a small activity. Now here there are two scenes. Okay, so here what is the difference you find in these two scenes? If you see in the first scene, the street is littered with the solid waste and it looks so dirty and untidy, whereas in the scene 2 you see a street which is clean and tidy. And of course we want the scene 2 because it's the ideal view that we wish to see on every street of India, right? And this can happen only if every person does his job vigilantly. Okay, and every citizen tries to dispose of the garbage properly. Now if the solid waste are properly disposed of, they can be a valuable source of energy. You can see how it can be a valuable source here. You can generate a lot of fuel through this, through the biogas, whereas if it is not disposed of properly, then it can lead to pollution of the air, water and soil as well. Okay, so currently solid waste is a serious worldwide problem as it causes both waters and soil pollution. Now you might have heard in the news every time that the solid waste which is dumped on the road has caused nuisance, or it has generated a lot of health problems. Okay, or maybe you might have heard about the floods due to accumulation of the plastic and in the water bodies, and so floods have occurred because of water cannot go out into the sea and so on. So you might have heard these type of situations on the news channel. So it's because this problem is increasing day by day. So that is why solid waste management, how we can manage the waste effectively, is the need of the hour. Okay, so you can see how dirty this situation looks like, this scene looks like. Okay, so all this is also leading to the reduction in the economic growth. The economy of India comes down. Now if you see, most of the parts of India are people are coming to visit as the tourist spot. But if suppose the streets are littered like this in so filthy manner, so dirty manner, then will the tourist people come to India? No, my dear students, and it may reduce the economy of our country. Okay, not only this, it also leads to environmental degradation. Okay, so you will see that so much of pollution will be there all around, and it leads to accumulation of certain chemicals, or plastic cannot degrade very easily and it goes on accumulating, and so this leads to environmental degradation. And not only this, it also causes lot of health issues also. It also affects our health. Okay, so therefore proper disposal of this solid waste is very necessary, otherwise it will cause all these types of pollution, that is air pollution, okay, water pollution and soil pollution as well. Let us now proceed. Do you know, okay, how much is the garbage production per day in some of the metropolitan cities like Mumbai? So you will be shocked to hear that in Mumbai per day, how much is the waste generated? So it is around 5,000 tons in Mumbai. 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. So you can imagine, just add 3 more zeros there. So it will be around 50 lakh kilograms of waste which will be generated approximately. Okay, whereas the second one, that is Pune, generates around 1700 tons and Nagpur around 900 tons. So it's very bad situation, and because of a lot of accumulation of these waste, there was on 26th July 2005 there was a serious flood calamity in Mumbai, and it had arisen because of the improper solid waste management. Okay, uh, so thus we see that accumulation of the solid waste can lead to serious calamities and various calamities. So if you may not have been born at that time, but it was a serious situation in the Mumbai, because at that time so many people got stuck in that flood. Many people died on the way itself because they could not go home. They could, if they were traveling by the vehicles and all, the vehicles got jammed because of the flood. I mean, the windows could not be opened. The bus who were traveling, they also got jammed inside. And the electricity wires which had come out on and they were just lying in the water, many people died due to shock and all. So many days, around 4 days almost, the flood was there and people could not go to their homes. The one who had gone for to a job in the morning could not return back at home on because of this flood which had occurred. It was a very serious problem at that time, and it all had become just because there was no proper disposal of the solid, or there was no solid waste management. And every year this happens in Mumbai. It's because the proper disposal of the solid waste is not done properly. So it's a serious problem. Now, so it has led to accumulation of the solid waste and can lead to various such calamities. Now, how much amount of waste is generated? Now let us try to find out that how much is the waste generated in a larger amount, doing a small activity. Okay, we will find out in the small residential area how much is the waste generated per week, and let us try to see how much in each house it is generated per week. So some data has been collected, okay, and we find that a lot of solid waste is generated, which includes some as biodegradable waste and some as non-biodegradable waste. Like biodegradable means the one which can get degraded with the help of microbes and all, whereas non-biodegradable waste is the one which cannot be degraded by the microbes. And all these happens, it's because of our daily activities and some of our habits. So therefore it is our duty to dispose the garbage properly so that we don't contribute in harming our environment. Okay, then it is generated or accumulated and can be disposed of properly. Okay, let us see now a little further. So what is meant by solid waste? Now we make use of materials and articles in our daily life, many materials. So the unwanted solid materials that are generated to various daily human activities which we do not need any longer are called as solid waste. I hope so you have understood this. Solid waste is whatever is not required for us, unwanted things which is generated every day through our daily activities, like use of paper, throwing of the paper in the dustbin, pencil shavings, the food material which is left over and is thrown out. Okay, plastic bottles, so many things used which we do not require, okay, and do not need longer. So they are called as the solid waste. Fine. Now let us try to categorize this solid waste into different types. So what type of so these solid waste can be categorized in the following manner: industrial waste or biomedical waste, okay, then electronic waste, and even farm or garden waste. Now So all these are different types of solid waste. Now let us see in each one of these what different types of waste materials are generated, okay, in the which is given in the table on textbook page number 101. Now old papers, used papers, then plastic bags, waste food, vegetable waste, fruit skins, broken pieces of the glass, old metal articles, okay, all these are called as domestic waste. So these are all domestic waste which is generated in the house. So since it is generated in the house, it is called as the domestic waste. Whereas various chemicals, pigments, sludge, ash, metals, etc. that are discharged from the industries are classified as industrial waste. Then some chemical that are generated in various industries, radioactive materials, explosives, infectious materials, etc. have adverse effect on the health, and these wastes are included under hazardous waste. Hazardous means they are very dangerous to our health. Then waste materials like leaves, flowers, branches of the trees, straw, then animal urine and dung, okay, pesticides, remains of the various chemicals and fertilizers, etc. are included under farm and garden waste. Then non-functional electronic devices like TV sets, cell phones, music systems, computers and their parts, etc. are electronic wastes. Then a large amount of waste materials like bandages, dressings, gloves, needles, saline bottles, medicines, medicine bottles, test tubes, body parts, blood, etc. are generated from clinics, hospitals, blood banks and laboratories. So all these are categorized under biomedical waste. Then we have waste generated to household industries and large commercial and industrial establishment, carry bags, glass, metal pieces and rods, threads, rubber, paper, can from shops, vegetable and meat markets, construction site, etc. are categorized as urban waste. Then radioactive materials like strontium 10, then cerium 141, barium 140 and heavy water, etc. generated from atomic energy plants, uranium mines, okay, atomic research centers, nuclear weapons testing sites, etc. are all included under radioactive waste. Now what is heavy water? Heavy water is nothing but the water which is composed of hydronium oxide, okay, deuterium oxide and water, combination of all these three which are used in the moderator for the nuclear fission reaction. Okay, so remember that word heavy water because you might have not heard. Other words, all these are called as radioactive elements. Fine, so these are the radioactive waste. Mostly in the whenever nuclear energy is generated, all these are used as fuels for the nuclear energy production. Fine, so this I just wanted to tell you in detail. So remains of heavy metals like lead, arsenic, cadmium, etc. from mines are categorized under mining waste. Now, how all these waste materials are broadly classified into? So they are classified into two types. One is biodegradable waste, second is non-biodegradable waste. Now let us see the biodegradable waste. How we can call it as biodegradable and why it is called as biodegradable waste. So biodegradable waste, it is called as biodegradable. Bio means degraded by living organisms. And which are these living organisms? Yes, my dear students, they are nothing but the microorganisms can degrade or decompose and convert it into a compost. Okay, fine. That is why this type of waste is called as biodegradable. Now, what type of waste is included in biodegradable? Okay, they are nothing but the spoiled food, spoiled fruits and vegetables, ash, soil, dung, parts of plants, okay, categorized into biodegradable waste. And biodegradable waste is mainly of organic type. Since it is natural, it is also called as organic type and is also called as the wet solid waste or wet garbage. Fine. So if it is carefully decomposed, we can if it is carefully decomposed, we can get a compost and a fuel of good quality from it. So such biofuel projects have been started in many cities. Okay, so this is regarding the biodegradable waste. Now let us learn about the non-biodegradable waste, which is a major problem. Okay, now non-biodegradable waste is also called as dry solid waste or dry garbage because it cannot be decomposed easily, but we can do some other things with that. That is, it can be the ones which cannot be decomposed, some of them can be recycled, reused. Okay, whereas some cannot be recycled also, then they are disposed of properly into the landfilling sites and all. Okay, so it includes metal waste, glass waste, plastic waste and biomedical waste like the syringes, bottles, needles. Okay, the parts of the not parts, gloves. Okay, whereas radioactive waste and industrial waste is all coming under the non-biodegradable waste. That means they cannot be degraded by the microorganisms. Okay, now all these are included under solid dry waste. So as non-biodegradable waste means unchanged for over a long period of time, they accumulate in our surroundings rapidly and pollute our environment because it takes them so many years for plastic takes around, it cannot be decomposed first thing, but it takes around lakhs of years for the plastic to degrade. So we put it under non-biodegradable only because we don't know when it will get degraded. Fine. And thermocol, it's a very problematic material because it is not getting decomposed and it causes too much of pollution. So we have to be very careful in the use of some of these materials. So what can we do with them? So we can give them for we can reduce the use of all these materials. Okay, instead of buying more and more, we can reduce the use. Then we can reuse certain materials. Okay, whereas other materials we can give it for recycling. Okay, so but we should not dispose it of anywhere. Some of the non-biodegradable waste cannot be reused or recycled, therefore they have to be discarded properly. So by in the landfilling sites. Okay, so since otherwise if it is not disposed of properly, it will be a major issue of the pollution. Okay, so therefore it is necessary for all of us to dispose to take care of these solid waste effectively. Okay, so let us try to see what type of whether try to find out. Here there is an exercise given on page number 102 to make a list of various waste materials and articles in your area and prepare a chart as follows. Now let us see whether what type of materials are degradable, non-degradable, recyclable, reused, or they can be toxic. Now let us see the first one, that is the food items which is prepared. They are degradable but they cannot be recycled, reused, and they are toxic in nature. Okay, so the first one, that is the food materials. So food materials are degradable but they cannot be recycled, cannot be reused, and of course they are toxic in nature. Then second one is the plastic material, like plastic bottles and all. So they are non-biodegradable, non-recyclable, cannot be reused, and of course they can be reused and they are toxic in nature. Okay, then the last one, You can see in the third case, that is the hips of paper. Yes, of course they are degradable. Okay, they can be recycled, reused, and they are non-toxic in nature. Now, the solid waste, all these solid waste can be harmful to us and our environment if they remain accumulated in the environment. And accumulation of the solid waste can cause bad odor, production of the toxic gases, degradation of the natural beauty, and spread of various diseases. It can also adversely affect the biodiversity, whereas it can lead to soil pollution, water pollution, and air pollution as well. So thus solid waste management has become necessity of today's world. So in the next video we are going to learn about the necessity of solid waste management. So till then students, bye and thank you.